Orders of the day numbers 1 and 2 and members' order of the day number 1.
Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Bill Committee Stage, Sullivan Birth Registration Bill Committee Stage, Electronic Transaction Contract Formation Amendment Bill Committee Stage.
So I declare the Housing Committee for consideration of the Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Bill, the Sullivan Birth Registration Bill and the Electronic Transfers Contract Information Amendment Bill. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker. Members, the Housing Committee for consideration of the Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Bill, the Sullivan Birth Registration Bill and the Electronic Transactions Contract Formation Amendment Bill. We turn first to the Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Bill. The question is that the preamble stand part. I call Jackie Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking on the Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Bill, and the committee gave this local bill in the name of Damien O'Connor pretty good consideration in its time in the committee, and listened very carefully to a number of submitters who were affected by this bill. And it's really sympathetic to the submissions of the people who cared enough to put a lot of time into coming to Wellington, or perhaps giving us a video conference in support of this bill, or indeed opposed to the bill. There was the desire to remove Clause 9, or to delete Clause 9. We decided that this would be outside the scope of the bill. So the technical amendments were made for consistency to clauses 5A, 6 and 9 to replace declared to have been with declared to be and always, or I'll get it right, declared to be and to always have been. So without validation of this setting of the rates, the Council would have been required to undergo a good deal of work which was retrospective in nature, and that was around things like determining which ratepayers had actually paid the 2006-07 rates and the amount that they had paid. Now, 2006-07 is 8 years ago. It's a long time ago in the Council record, and also ratepayers' records. Of course, they're not required to keep those records for that long. So they would also have to ascertain whether the current ratepayers were the same ratepayers that occupied those properties and now as in 2006 and 7, and that's a nightmare in itself. Something we did consider. Apportion rates if there were or are multiple owners in that property, and again, the nature of ownership on those properties can change substantially over that time. And then right to each ratepayer, advising them of the amount of the refund and requesting bank details for the payment. So it was decided by the committee under the leadership of Nikki Wagner, who I know is waiting to take a call. Well, actually, Nikki is an excellent chair in the Local Government Committee and runs a very collegial environment in the committee, which enables the committee to discuss some quite thorny issues. Happy to say on this particular one, the committee was pretty united in its care for this particular bill. So the committee also determined that any merit of setting a stormwater rate was we decided it was outside the scope of the bill, and that is a matter that the local authority would have to deal with separately. So In essence, this bill was about validating certain rates which were set incorrectly during the period of 2003 and 4 and 8 and 9. Now, the Tasman District Council is not alone in having made a mistake of this nature, not just exactly the same perhaps, but this kind of critical decision-making by the very nature is critical, because if it isn't set correctly, then we get faced with a validation bill, a retrospective bill like this, and the Parliament, I believe, is not of the mind to really support this kind of bill, but it is a situation that has been brought to us on behalf of the local council and its community, and so we've got to deal with it. So we are dealing with it. Well, you know, where does the buck stop, you know? The council has been charged with some important decision making. They have made errors in that, so it falls to Parliament to correct it. Damien O'Connor has done a very good job in keeping the lines of communication open between council, its ratepayers and the committee under the chairmanship of Nikki Wagner. So without doing the validation, the council would always be vulnerable to challenge from ratepayers over their incorrectly set rates. And if it were me, I'm a ratepayer, if it were me and my rates were incorrectly set, I'd be ropeable about it, because this is, Mr Chair.
Katie Dean.
Thank you. I would be ropeable about it, because every 3 years I do vote for my councillors, who then select a mayor, and I'd like to think that they would run a pretty tight ship. And I would like to say that this government's better local government reforms have got a very strong push towards enhancing the decision-making capability of councils. And I'd also like to say that Local Government New Zealand and Society of Local Government Managers share that desire, and I'm looking to see, and I'm sure the House would agree with this, we don't need too many more of these bills. But having said that, I believe we've got this one in pretty good shape, and I commend it to the House.
Good speech, yeah.
Sue Williams-Seal.
Oh, very good choice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look, let me just